Good morning. Hi, how are you? I am M. Hari Prasad, lecturer in commerce, Government Degree College, Siddipet. We are discussing about some important points or some elements of Income Tax Act 1961. In part of that, in previous class, we discussed that broadly taxes can be classified into two groups: direct taxes and indirect taxes. Direct taxes meaning examples meaning examples, advantages and disadvantages are discussed in previous class. Today we are going to discuss about indirect taxes. What is meaning of indirect tax? So person, generally whether it is direct tax or indirect tax, it will be imposed by the government itself. There is no doubt in that. And an assessee will pay the tax in case of direct or indirect tax. But the difference between direct and indirect tax is, in case of direct tax, the person who pays tax and who bears the tax only one. The person who pays the tax only bears the tax. But in case of indirect tax, one person pays the tax and another person bears the tax. భరిస్తాడు. How it is possible? Yes, it is possible in case of indirect tax. Imposed by the government, paid by the one person, and it is transferred from one person to another person like that. Finally, consumer or other person will bears the tax. This is indirect tax. So, examples for indirect tax is GST, customs tax, excise tax, etc. etc. GST, goods and services tax, we know. Customs tax. What is a customs tax or customs duty? Generally, we use the term to customs duty or also tax. Customs duty. What is customs duty? So, tax on imports is known as customs duty. Tax on imports is known as customs duty. Generally, we listen the word in airports. Some smugglers brings gold, etc., by avoiding payment of customs duty, because our customs officer will trace them and arrest them. So we listen the word very usually and very regularly, customs duty, etc. And excise duty. Excise means on, generally excise duty means on, in our general opinion, excise means it belongs to some beer, etc. But excise duty means duty or tax on manufacturing goods, right? So same as to direct taxes, these indirect taxes also will have some advantages and some disadvantages also. These indirect tax also some advantages and disadvantages also. First we will discuss about advantages of indirect taxes. Very first advantage is indirect taxes gives chance to each and every person to share the economy of the country, because each and every person is paying the tax. Why? Because indirect taxes includes in selling price. Each and every person purchases things for himself, for his own survival. In part of that, he is going to pay tax, whether he is karodpati or whether he is beggar. Beggar also purchase some things about bathing soap, powder, toothpaste, etc. He is also purchasing. Karodpati is also purchasing the same things. Karodpati also paying the tax and beggars also paying the tax. Means each and every person of the nation is contributing his share in building the country or economic position of the country. This is the first advantage of the indirect tax. Second advantage of indirect taxes is direct taxes is very unpopular in public because public or assessee or taxpayers feels very difficult to pay the tax because we earned the money by sacrificing our own things and our own happiness, our own things. We earned the money. My earnings I am going to government in form of tax. This is the feeling of taxpayers in direct taxes. బికాస్ నేను సొంత కష్టపడి చెమటోడు సంపాదించుకునే డబ్బు గవర్నమెంట్కి ఎందుకు కట్టాలి అని ఒక ఫీలింగ్ ఉంది. దట్స్ వై డైరెక్ట్ ట్యాక్సెస్ ఆర్ వెరీ అన్పాపులర్ ఇన్ పబ్లిక్. But indirect tax, there is no such unpopularity because each and every person is paying indirect tax, but he don't know of paying indirect tax. Because we know today we purchase, example, today we purchased 50 rupees worth of paste. Out of 50 rupees we are paying 1 rupee because inclusive all taxes we know that. So 1 rupee is tax, but we don't feel like that. I purchased 50 rupees worth of paste. That much we are feeling, but we are not feeling out of 50 rupees 1 rupee is tax. Only 49 rupees I purchased, 1 rupee I paid for tax. We are not feeling like that. Without any feeling we are paying tax. That's why there is no unpopularity for indirect taxes. These are the some two advantages. First one is indirect taxes are giving chance to all the public for sharing the country's development, and second one is there is no unpopularity. Third advantage relating to indirect taxes is collection. So collection of tax is a very big task to the government because they has to trace the taxpayers, they has to ask the taxpayers, they has to impose the tax, and they has to take care for paying the tax. In even some cases they have to do some rights or court cases also, but there is no such difficulty in case of indirect taxes because indirect taxes generally includes in selling price. At the time of purchasing only the consumer is paying tax. That's why there is no such difficult. It is very easy and less expensive for collecting the tax when compared to direct taxes. Collection of direct tax is very tough job. It takes time, but in case of indirect tax it is very easy and low expensive, right? First one is first advantage in the contribution. Each and every person contribution is there. Second one is there is no unpopularity. Third one is it is very easy for collection. Fourth one is fourth advantage is elasticity because in case of direct taxes, in same as to direct taxes, here also there is a chance to increase the tax or to decrease the tax on a particular products also. Suppose in a particular product government may increase tax, government may decrease tax. In case of particular product, suppose we generally we are seeing in social media government has to increase customs duty on China products. Why? Because when we increase the customs duty, their selling price increase. Generally public shows less interest to purchase that products, right? So it is elasticity is there, same as to direct taxes. And next advantage is with the help of indirect taxes we can discourage the harmful products. Because why we discourage? Suppose cigarettes is there, cigarette is very harmful to health, we know that. But we have to discourage the public to purchase or to use or to smoke. What we have to do? We have to increase the customs duty, we have to increase the tax on cigarettes. If we increase the tax on cigarettes, what happens? The price of cigarette increases. When the price of cigarette increases, the demand decreases, the purchasing power decreases, and the person who takes 2 packets of cigarettes every day, he buys only one packet. So by that his health will be somewhat better than previous times. Okay, discourages the harmful things, right? In tax, very and another important is evasion. Evasion means egotism. There is no chance to avoid in tax paying of indirect taxes because it includes in selling price only. So these are the some advantages. What are those advantages? First advantage is each and every person is getting chance. Second advantage is there is no unpopularity. Third disadvantage is uh, elasticity, and fourth disadvantage is discourages, and next one is very easy to collection, and next one is harmful, discourage the harmful things, right? Same as to direct access, here some disadvantages also there. What are those disadvantages in case of indirect access? Means first disadvantage is it avoids the basic rule of equality. Equality, there is a rule equality. What is that equality rule? Higher income groups has to pay high rate of tax, lower income groups has to pay low tax, and poor people need not to pay tax. That is the rule of equality. But these indirect taxes is not bothering about that equality rule because each and every person is paying same tax. Suppose same example, 50 rupees worth of paste is there, actual price of paste is 48 rupees, 2 rupees tax. If the paste is purchased by the Ambani, he is paying 2 rupees. If that paste purchased by us, we are also paying 2 rupees. If that paste is purchased by a beggar, he is also paying 2 rupees. Each and every person is paying same because there is no equality. Equality means higher income groups has to pay high tax, lower income groups has to pay low tax. This rule is not bothered or not used in case of indirect taxes. One, uncertainty. In case of direct tax, each and every person knows how much tax he is paying, how much amount he is contributing in form of tax for the nation. There is a certainty. But in case of indirect taxes included in selling price. That's why there is no certainty. Today total during this year, I paid 12,000 rupees income tax. I know well because I'm having that receipt also. But I don't know how much amount of GST or indirect taxes I paid by purchasing all the goods. I don't know. There is no certainty. Certainty is not there in case of indirect selling price. A third advantage is these indirect taxes are included in selling price. To avoid the tax, the manufacturers do black market. The manufacturers transfers the goods on black market because there is a chance to increase black market business with by indirect. In total population, some part of the population are paying direct taxes, but total population is paying indirect taxes, right? Why? Because but the income or revenue to the government is much more with the indirect taxes only. Out of total population, below 50% or around 50% of people are paying income tax because in our country higher income groups are very low and lower income groups are very high percentage because some part below 50% of people are paying income tax or direct taxes, property, even whether income tax or property. But indirect tax is paying by all the person from Rashtrapati to common person, from Karodpati to from a beggar, from 90 years, 100 years age persons to newly born baby. Total persons are total paying, total persons are total as a population are paying indirect taxes without knowing by them. వాళ్ళకి తెలియకుండానే పే చేస్తున్నారు. న్యూలీ బెర్న్ బాబీ కోసం బేబీ ఆయిల్ కొంటే అందులో ఇంక్లూజివ్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ట్యాక్స్. హీఈస్ ఆల్సో ఎట్ ది టైమ్ ఆఫ్ బర్త్ బై ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ హీఈస్ పేయింగ్, బేబీ ఈజ్ పేయింగ్ ట్యాక్స్. ఆ 90 years ఏజ్ అతను కూడా అతను మెడిసిన్స్ కొనుక్కున్నా కూడా హీఈస్ పేయింగ్ ట్యాక్స్. బికాస్ బట్ వీ డోంట్ నో వీఆర్ పేయింగ్ ట్యాక్స్, వీఆర్ పేయింగ్ ట్యాక్స్, వీఆర్ పేయింగ్ జిఎస్టీ, వీఆర్ పేయింగ్ కస్టమ్స్ ట్యాక్స్, వీఆర్ పేయింగ్ ఎక్సైజ్ ట్యాక్స్. వీ డోంట్ నో. Without knowing us, we are paying tax. That's why there is no unpopularity and like advantage, main advantage is because we are paying tax, but we are knowing about paying tax. That's why we don't bother about it. But in case of indirect, even though we paid 1000 or 500 or 1500, but we feels very hard or we feels very difficult. That is popularity, unpopularity, popularity, unpopularity, and certainty, uncertainty. In case of direct taxes, certainty is there, how much amount of tax they are paying, certainty is there. This year my total income is this much, from all the heads of incomes my total income is this much, I am paying to pay this much of tax. I am having certainty. నాకు తెలుసు స్పష్టంగా ఇంత ట్యాక్స్ కడుతున్నా, ఇంత ట్యాక్స్ కట్టాలి, ఇంత ట్యాక్స్ పడింది. బట్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఆఫ్ ఇండైరెక్ట్ ట్యాక్సెస్ దెర్ ఈజ్ నో అన్సర్టనిటీ. ఎంత కడుతున్నా నాకే తెలియదు. Because I don't know how much amount of tax I am paying on tax, how much amount of tax I am paying on biscuits, how much amount of tax I am paying on bread, and how much amount of tax I am paying on milk, how much amount of tax I am paying on ghee. I don't know. There is no uncertainty, but I am paying large amount of tax during my lifetime or during the year. Certainty, uncertainty. Elasticity is both the direct and indirect taxes. Government may increase or decrease these income tax rates, but in case of indirect taxes the elasticity is very useful. The nature elasticity is very useful. In case of what happens in elasticity, government may increase tax rates or government may decrease tax rates. Suppose government wants to discourage the imports from a particular country. Now in social media we are seeing some posts, China goods has to ban, or China goods need not to purchase by us. If government wants to discourage to purchase the China goods, what government does is government increases the customs tax on China goods. When customs duty on China goods increases, what happens? Automatically the selling price of that particular goods will be increased. When that particular goods price will increases, what consumer does? Consumer search for alternate with minimum price. So consumer converts from that goods to another goods. By that government can ban, or government can discourage, or government can do anything by increasing or decreasing. If government wants to increase the imports from a particular nation, what happens? Government decreases the tax. What happens when government decreases tax? Selling price decreases. When selling price decreases, automatically consumer comes or attracts to this particular goods only, right? So by demand increase and purchase also increase. So by that government can mold the public, or government can mold the consumers which products has to purchase, or which products has need not to purchase, or which product has to encourage and which products has to discourage. And one more thing with the elasticity is government can discourage public by using harmful products to health or society. Harmful products to health or society. Harmful product to health is what happens. What is that? It is wines, cigarettes, gutkhas, etc., etc. If government want to discourage to use that particular products, government has to increase tax on rates. When government increase the tax, what happens? Selling price increase. So selling price increase ఎప్పుడేమవుతుంది? పర్చేసింగ్ పవర్ తగ్గిపోతుంది. ఒక సిగరెట్ 2 సిగరెట్ ప్యాకెట్లు తాగే వ్యక్తి ఏం చేస్తాడు? ఒక సిగరెట్ ప్యాకెట్ తోటి తృప్తి పడేటువంటి అవకాశం ఉంటుంది. సో దట్స్ వై హార్మ్ఫుల్నెస్ అనేది తగ్గిపోతుంది. లైక్ వైన్స్, లైక్ పెస్టిసైడ్స్. డ్యూ టు పెస్టిసైడ్స్ వాట్ హ్యాపెన్స్? క్రాప్స్ ఏమవుతున్నాయి? ఖరాబ్ అయిపోతున్నాయి కదా. సో దట్స్ వై క్రాప్స్ అండ్ పెస్టిసైడ్స్, సమ్ టైప్స్ ఆఫ్ మెడిసిన్స్, some types of wines, some types of gutkhas, pan parag, etc., some types of cigarettes, government can take action to decrease or increase are encouraged or discouraged by the to purchase the public by molding or increasing or decreasing the what is that tax on that particular one. Another disadvantage is black market. There is a chance for black market business because to avoid tax manufacturers shifts their products into black market. They shows only some products to the government and remaining manufacturing or remaining goods will be turns to black market to avoid tax payings. Okay, these are some advantages and disadvantages of indirect taxes. Overall, direct taxes and direct taxes both are income resources to government. From both the resources government are getting money, but some direct tax is paying by putting some part of the public only. Indirect tax are paying by the total public of the India. Direct taxes and indirect tax are having some advantages and disadvantages also, right? Thank you very much.